Adam Ikuda for the All Up Blitz. A little Week 5 preview of the Battle of Texas between the Texans and the Cowboys. We're going to give you some fantasy analysis and also a game pick. For the Cowboys, the only guy you could trust right now is Ezekiel Elliott. Over the last 2 weeks, he's been sensational. 378 total yards. He's been amazing and a touchdown. He's been able to carry the load for the Cowboys despite the fact that Dak Prescott in the passing game can't get on track. And to me, he's got a great matchup here against the Texans. If you're in a DFS league, you pay up for him or you ride him as your clear #1 back this week. If the Cowboys are to advance here in the season and have a good season, Zeke will get some serious MVP consideration considering how bad the rest of that offense truly is. For the Texans, they have a few more options here. Deshaun Watson's had a great start to this season after that first game against the Pats. And now DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller are also viable options for me, especially Hopkins if Fuller misses this game. Another name to keep in mind is Kike Kute, the rookie out of Texas Tech, if Fuller sits. But for now, we'll bench him this week. But Watson's the guy you got to take a look at. Over the last 3 games, he's thrown for over 1,000 yards, clearly back from the injury, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Remember, he's playing in some of these shootout games because of how bad the Texans' defense has been, so he's going to put up numbers. I like him as a safe play this week against the Cowboys, and if Fuller plays, he's got 2 stud receivers who can certainly pay dividends for you this week. In terms of a prediction, give me the Texans 30-23. I just think they have too much offense, and I don't think the Cowboys will be able to keep up. I think the Texans' defense finally shows up, and they get the win. For more throughout the week, check the Phantom Fantasy Forum for more analysis, and also the All Out Blitz, Sunday mornings, 11:45 to kickoff, as we get you ready for Week 5 in the NFL.
Good news, everybody. Adam picks against the Cowboys every single week. I'm Ari Temkin, and this is Showtime right here on Phantom, the New World Order of sports media, delivering live sports and sports content to you. This is the most interactive Dallas Cowboys show out there. So engage, discuss, interact. You'll see here, this is where the game will be won for the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday against the Houston Texans. You can watch last week's game against the Colts and watch Andrew Luck absolutely shred the Texans defense through the air. Here are the highlights throughout the entire game of the Texans pass defense, which is one of the worst in the National Football League. That is where we begin today's show. Again, I'm Ari Temkin. This is Showtime. Every day at 12 noon, you can catch me as part of the Dallas Cowboys pregame show and postgame show on 105.3 The Fan. And you can catch me streaming live every single day right here on Phantom, the New World Order of sports media. We are putting you right in the center of the Dallas sports conversation. All right, shout out to all of those watching across all the different pages and platforms we are streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And shout out to those of you watching across the Dallas Cowboys America's Team page, Cowboys Nation, the Dallas Cowboys Report, Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page, and America's Fans Silver and Blue Club, and many of our other pages as well. So thank you all. I will get to your comments as quickly as I can, but first, please hit the share button, and that way we can get as many Cowboys fans out there that can join this conversation. And tag friends of yours that are Cowboys fans that would like this. Marcus Turner in the house. Adrian Ross says, good day to you. Good day to you, Adrian. Lionel Montgomery's watching. Deacon Sam Ringwood said, is Butler going to play this week? Lionel Montgomery says, David Irving is back this week. Can't wait to see the defense. It's Irving, not Irvin, by the way. Eddie Bernal gives me the thumbs up, which is Cowboys win or heart Cowboys lose. So tell me what you think. Do you think the Cowboys are going to win on Sunday night, or will they lose? On the Phantom page, G. Garcia in the house. Ninja Nuts is here. Cody Arnold says, Jerry's shooting down Dez coming back, which is a topic we'll get into here in a little bit. I've got the audio, too, if you haven't heard it. Cody Arnold projects that Cowboys are going to win 27-17. Kerry Teagle in the house. Ninja Nuts says, D-Hop and Will Fuller are both on the injury report. Right, both with hamstring issues, but I believe they're both going to play. Ryan England says, what's up, fam? Sean Moore. Hey, Sean Moore's back. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Where have you been? Are you mad at me? If Dak makes the right decisions and can be accurate when we pass, that's great. I don't want to limit Zeke's touches, though. Ninja Nut says, this is a winnable game as long as we continue to run and keep Dak mobile. Cody Miller says, here, what's up? All right. I just wanted to make sure I was... Oh, Solar's in the house. What up, Solar? All right, so yesterday I previewed the Cowboys defense against the Texans offense, and I didn't like that matchup. The Texans have a propensity to make big plays. The Cowboys, the last 2 weeks, have given up a lot of big plays. The Texans are one of the most sacked teams in the NFL. Deshaun Watson faces pressure on 38% of his dropbacks, which is number 1 in the NFL. But even despite that, he still puts up, and the Texans still put up 414 yards of offense, 24 points a game. So it's pretty good, despite all of the pressure they face. And on top of that, Deshaun Watson, he's 61% of his pass attempts, rather 61% of his completions are 10 yards or more. And last year, I mean, it was at 14% on 20 yards or more in completions. And the Cowboys in recent weeks, Seattle and Detroit, give up a ton of big plays. So when I looked at the matchup between the Texans offense and the Cowboys defense, I didn't like what I saw. Because again, we know the Cowboys have a good pass rush. We know the Texans give up a lot of sacks. We know the Texans still put up points and yards despite that. And we know that they have, they make a lot of big plays. Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, they're big play guys. And the Cowboys of late have been giving up a lot of big plays. That's a problem. For all of that's a problem across the board. Today, though, there's reasons for optimism. And this is why I'm picking the Cowboys to win on Sunday. And by the way, I'm 3-1 picking games this year. So the reason I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win on Sunday Night Football is because of the other side of the ball. The Cowboys offense against the Texans defense. And again, let me just try and restart this. Yeah, there it is. So you can watch in all its glory here this Texans pass defense, which is atrocious. Now, we know about Jadeveon Clowney. We know about J.J. Watt. We know they have a good pass rush, and that's going to be a problem potentially for the Cowboys. But, I mean, look at this. This is the play by T.Y. Hilton, got hurt, by the way. He still played the rest of the game. But, I mean, Andrew Luck absolutely shredded this pass defense. The problem is they're bad, and because they're bad, they play soft coverage, so they give a lot of cushion. And you're going to see in all these highlights, all these pass plays, guys are open because they just can't. They just don't have cover corners that can really stick with guys. And that's where I think this game is going to be won. I think the Texans still have an ability to put up some points against this Cowboys defense, but I think this Cowboys offense can stick with the Texans defense or Texans offense. This is, when you look at the Bobby Wagner, Frank Clark Seattle defense that the Cowboys struggled against a couple of weeks ago, this is not that same kind of defense, right? Like, the Seahawks had Earl Thomas at the back end, had Frank Clark and Bobby Wagner. So a really good all-pro type player at every level of their defense. The Texans have really good players up front and not much behind them. Now, Zach Cunningham and Benardrick McKinney are good linebackers, but they have not played as well as so far this year as they played in recent years. And when I look at this back end, I mean, Tyrann Mathieu is their best player in the secondary, and he is not. He's not as good as he's been throughout the course of his career. I mean, again, just look at all this space. All these guys are wide open. And Luck, I mean, you'll see here, Luck did take some sacks in this football game, but especially third down conversions. I mean, look at this. Just an underneath throw, and they still get to the sticks on third down. I mean, that's a 3rd and 14. They throw short of the sticks and still end up with the first down. And they did that multiple times in this football game. Keith Price says this could be a win. Gallup needs a good game. Joshua Bryant on the Phantom page posts Dak will have 3 passing touchdowns. Book it. Neil Favre says, what's up, Ari? Ready for 3 and 2? Sean Moore says he's been busy. Okay, I accept that. I'm just glad you're not mad at me. Sean Moore also says a win depends on whether good Dak or bad Dak shows up and whether they can block their pass rushers. Yeah, I mean, I certainly think, keeping Dak clean is key. But even if they don't, look at all this cushion. This secondary for the Texans is really bad. And that's, I tweeted this out earlier. I mean, look at this. It's unbelievable. I tweeted this out earlier. Here's another one. You're wondering how they tie the game here? 2nd and 3rd. And where's Luck going to go? All day to throw. He's got time to escape. And now he finds a guy underneath. I mean, this was just all day, especially in the second half of this football game. First half was not as high scoring as the second half was, but it was an onslaught of scoring in the second half. There's another one, throws short on 1st and goal and still gets to the end zone. Second touchdown for their running back, Hicks, who's not as nearly as good of a receiver as Zeke Elliott is. So that's a problem, obviously, for the Texans defense. I mean, it was just another third down conversion in overtime. Here's another third down conversion in overtime. 3rd and 10. Cowboys have been another one short of the sticks. They get it to their running back, and he gets the first down there. I mean, it was just a field day. We could play it again, too. I'm happy to play it again, too. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. One more time. I mean, it's just incredible. Again, this Texans defense is bad, especially the secondary. And I tweeted this out earlier, and I think it's worth noting and pointing out that the Texans are 9th in rush defense in the NFL, and they're like 28th or 29th in pass defense. And I think kind of like Detroit last week, where they were number 1 in pass defense and 32nd in rush defense. Like, the reason they're number 1 in pass defense is because everybody runs on them and nobody passes on them. I think the Texans are similar. Because all these teams can pass on them, nobody really cares to run the football on them. And I know, like, even if you look at it on a yards per carry average, they're still pretty good, right? Like, so it's not like they're a top rush defense and they're only, they're giving up 9 yards per carry or something ridiculous. I still think it's under 4 yards a carry. But still, again, I think it's not like Jadeveon Clowney is a guy. I mean, he's a pass rusher. He's not like a true, like DeMarcus Lawrence. Part of what I think makes him so great is he's a great pass rusher, but he's also great against the run. Jadeveon Clowney's not like that. Jadeveon Clowney's better. He's just a better athletic freak than is Tank Lawrence, but he's not as good against the run. Neither are these Texans linebackers, and they've struggled tackling this year. A lot of missed tackles by those linebackers. So again, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game on Sunday because of this battle and this battle in particular. I just don't think this Texans defense is very good, and I especially don't think it's very good in the back end. Post your comments. Let me get to some of these comments as I kind of scroll through all the pages. Want to make sure I sort of got my 2 cents. But again, just watch this. It was incredible. The fourth quarter especially. Look at all these third down conversions. That was a 3rd and 2 they just converted. Here's a 3rd and 14. Again, same one. Short of the sticks. He's got Matthew chasing him down. He still gets the first down. Unbelievable. That is just on a 3rd and 14. That's exactly what you want as a defense, and they can't make the tackle. All right, Eric Conyejo on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page gives me the thumbs up, meaning he thinks the Cowboys win. Ross McCaden says, I'd like for this to be Dak's game to get to show his running skills again. Think it's possible or no? Sure, but I mean, I also think this is a game where Dak can show his passing skills because, I mean, he just has to find open guys and hit them. I mean, that's basically what it's going to come down to because he's going to have open guys the entire football game because, again, look at this cushion here. I mean, just look at the bottom of the screen. There's so much cushion. Jonathan Joseph has been a really good corner in his career, but man, is he bad this year. Let's see here. Another 100-plus game for Zeke. Steve Eason says that. I mean, I think you got to get Zeke involved in the passing game. Maybe more receptions for Zeke than rushes. Pete Ayala says both teams struggling. This will be a tough game. The line has to step up, and D-line needs to apply pressure. Will be a good game. Go Dallas. All right, on the Phantom page, again, thank you all for being a part of today's show. Hit the share button. Post your comments. This is an interactive show. It's the most interactive Cowboys show out there, so interact. Post your comments. Hit your thoughts. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. That's what this is all about. Sean Moore says, Luck is way more accurate of a passer than Dak is, but I see what you're saying. Dak needs to build on last week's success. Well, yeah, Luck's accurate, but Luck, I mean, probably doesn't have as good of an arm. He used to, but, I mean, have you seen his noodle arm now? And I mean, this is just last week's highlights. Blaine Gabbert put up numbers against them, guys. Blaine Gabbert is a quarterback that put up numbers against this defense. Just think about that. Because remember, Marcus Mariota was injured, didn't start the game for Tennessee. Blaine Gabbert started, put up numbers, then Mariota ended up coming in because I think Gabbert either got hurt or Gabbert became Gabbert. But even Gabbert put up 200 yards passing against this team. So, it's not, I mean, yes, Luck is a better, more accurate quarterback than Dak. But Blaine Gabbert put up 200-plus passing yards on this football team. So there's that. Ty Shelton says, the Texans defense is a trap. Cowboys need to be careful and not lose their identity, which is running the ball. Dak's going to want to throw the ball more in his game, which is not what we want to do. Run Zeke. If Zeke has more carries than Dak passing attempts, then we'll win. Disagreed. Keith Stone says, shared. Busy again, so can't stay long. Well, apologize about that. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry you're busy, buddy. Zach Rosenberg says that they put Zeke at quarterback. Would he account for 100% of their offense? Probably. G. Garcia says, calling it now, Dak has 300 yards passing. Kerry Teagle says, who do we cut, put on IR to make room for Irving? I'll get into that in a moment. Keith Stone's prediction is 28-24 Cowboys this week. Look, for the guy that, Ty Shelton, that commented for the Cowboys can't get away from their identity, against Detroit, they were pretty much 50-50 pass run. So, like, the common denominator here is Zeke and not just running the football. Remember, Zeke had 200 and what was it, 240 total yards last week, all-purpose yards, most in his career. That's about him being involved in the running game and the passing game. So I expect to see that, but I expect to see balance from this team this week. We saw them throw the football pretty consistently last week and pretty well. And this is a much easier team to pass on. The Texans' defense may have better players in J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney, but they have a considerably worse pass defense than Detroit. And again, we can look at the highlight. We can go through it again. 400 yards passing for Andrew Luck. He's throwing on third down short of the sticks, and they're still converting multiple times. 3rd and 14, 3rd and 10, short of the sticks, they convert. So the number one thing, so two things in this game stood out to me. The Texans' big play offense against the Dallas Cowboys' big play giving up defense, which is a problem, but how bad the Texans' pass defense is. Like, that to me was like, oh God. Blaine Gabbert put up numbers against this team. The Cowboys are going to put up a ton of numbers, and that's why I'm predicting them to win this week. What do you all think? Post your comments. I do want to get into, and I'll play the audio for you in a moment. Des Bryant to the Cowboys is officially dead, according to Jerry Jones. I'll play the audio, which we heard on 105 through the Fan earlier today, but I'll play that audio for you coming up here in a moment. Tim Mariano says it won't be one. Okay. Adrian Ross says they play soft. Dallas comes hard, plain and simple. Agreed. That's it. They play very soft in coverage, and I think that's because they're worried about being gashed. Apologize. Just trying to get to all the different pages we're broadcasting across. Shout out to all you watching across all these different pages. Make sure to hit the share button. Dakota Stiegel in the house. JoJo's in the house. I finally caught you live. You did. Hi, JoJo. How are you? I'm predicting a win this week. JoJo, how are you? If you guys don't know JoJo's Replay, go check out, just search on Facebook. JoJo's Replay does fantastic work on Facebook. JoJo's Daily Rant is always awesome and must watch on Facebook. Dakota Stiegel says Cowboys win 28-17. Zeke has another monster game. Ninja Nut says it really does seem like T. Will is going to be the guy that gets dropped for Irving. Just too many receivers in the squad and him not being active last week or practicing this week. JoJo says we have to win on the road. This is Dak time to take over. Ty Shelton says my apologies. If Zeke has more touches than Dak has pass attempts, then we'll win. I love Dak, but I'm just looking at history. If Zeke has over 25 touches, we'll walk away with a win. Agreed. Agreed. I think this is not about. This is not necessarily about how many rushing attempts that Zeke has. This is more about the Cowboys' ability to exploit the Texans' inability to play well on the back end of their defense. And that's, again, the number one thing that stood out when I looked at the Texans is just how bad their pass defense truly is. And it's bad. And I think part of the reason it's so bad, part of the reason the rush defense looks so good is because teams can pass on them pretty easily. All right, what do you think? Gary Likens in the house. Producer G. What up, Producer G? How are you? Chris Bennett says the Red River Shootout is almost here. Indeed it is. Ryan England says we're notorious for losing the games we're supposed to win. They need to stay aggressive. Joseph Heron says need to run Zeke and get him involved with receptions out of the backfield like last week. Dak needs to not turn the ball over. Defense needs to bring it. Agreed. Corey Miller says, I run the page. Houston Cowboys, liking your analysis. I'll share the heck out of it. Thanks, man. That's awesome. And also, I love the page, the Houston Cowboys. And I love the fact that there is a Dallas Cowboys affiliate in Houston. And so, Corey, I'm assuming you are in Houston, so I would invite you to make sure to listen to the pre- and post-game show across the Houston Dallas Cowboys affiliate, which I am a part of. So it'll be a lot of fun, especially for you in Houston, especially if the Cowboys win. Although if you're going to the game, that should be fun too. But make sure everybody who's watching this, no matter where you are, there is a Cowboys affiliate in Houston. My goodness, there's bound to be one where you live. So it's locally in DFW at 105.3 The Fan. You can catch me as part of the pregame show and postgame show on the aforementioned Dallas Cowboys radio network. So I appreciate you, Corey. Thank you very much. Sean Moore says, what I want from Dak is accurate passes, not to get rattled from the pressure, and to capitalize with touchdowns in the red zone. Yeah, and look, he gets rattled under pressure. We've seen that. But I don't know. Maybe I feel like even if he gets sacked, he's still going to see receivers open, and he's going to hit some of them. Because, I mean, the Seattle game, the Carolina game, those are just better all-around defenses than the Texans. And look, I don't think that the Cowboys are this unbelievable juggernaut, but I think the Texans are 1-3 for a reason. They have some areas of their team that are really good, but they have a fatal flaw, which is their secondary. It's atrocious. It's horrible. Producer G says, could Zeke have 1,000 rushing and receiving? Yeah. He probably should. I'll put it that way. He no doubt will have 1,000 yards rushing. He should have 1,000 yards receiving. The question is whether or not Scott Linehan and the Cowboys offense will get him enough receptions to get him 1,000 yards receiving. But Producer G from the Silver and Blue Nation, if you guys aren't checking out the Silver and Blue Nation, make sure to check them out. Producer D does fantastic work in the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, that's a great point. He should have, Zeke should have this season 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, which is ridiculously incredible, obviously. All right, again, broadcasting live across multiple pages and channels right now. So wherever you're watching, shout out to you watching. I'm going to try to get to everybody's comments as I scroll through all these different pages across all these different places we're broadcasting on. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys Report, another one of our pages, another one of our partners here at Phantom. In a moment, again, I'm going to get to Dez Bryant and his comments. Also a reminder, join us this week, if you live in the area, Henry's Tavern in Plano for our watch party. Walt Chisholm and Dalton Miller, two great Cowboys analysts. They're going to be out there broadcasting live, which you can stream and watch here. And also, if you go, and you can see this coupon here, it says one free appetizer for our Cowboys watch party. If you go to Henry's in Plano off of Legacy, bring the coupon code, and you'll get a free appetizer when you dine in. So make sure to do that this Sunday for Sunday Night Football. But I did also, again, just want to give you just how bad this Texans defense is. If you missed it earlier, I'm playing this on a loop for you because it's bad. The front end is good. Back end is not. Look at all the yardage. My goodness, there's so much of a cushion there. All right, Dallas Cowboys Report. JT Riles in the house. What up, JT? Robert Jones says you need a tan. It's the lighting, okay, Robert? But yeah, Sean Nesbitt says, shout out, Phantom. Thank you, Sean. JT Riles says, when's Bryce going to see the field? I don't know. He also says, at JT Riles 3, you'll find my page. So I'll go check that out. Thank you, JT. And also, just a reminder, JT, to go over to the Phantom page. That's the quickest way to have your comments heard is through the Phantom page. All right, Dallas Cowboys America's team, one of our partners here at Phantom. Getting over to that page again. I am not going to be part of the 104.9 The Horn Roundtable later. I don't think so, at least. I haven't been asked about it. So, Gary Likens says Dak hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver yet. Wow. That makes sense. Sean Moore says Zeke had better not just get 14 to 16 touches in the running game. Look, I think 25 to 30 touches for Zeke. I don't care how he gets it. If it's 10 rushes and 20 pass catches, whatever. Just get him the ball 25 to 30 times and they'll be fine. Cody Arnold says Dak and Linehan need to step it up. Having a back like Zeke should open up plenty of play action. Yeah, and again, we saw that a lot last week. G. Garcia says, I think Allen Hurns is a breakout game Sunday night. I don't think so, but okay. Eric Koshaney says, sorry I'm late. I was out to lunch with my wife. How was it? And you are excused. That is a legitimate excused absence. All right, Dallas Cowboys America's team. And again, I'm going to get into the Dez Bryant thing, but I just had to run through look at how bad their pass defense. Look at this. Just the safeties late to come over. Perfect ball put right there. Nice catch made. Mr. and Mrs. Torres, when do you expect something on T. Will's problem? Nicholas McCrate says hello. Hi, Nicholas McCrate. Steve Easton says, think they put Frederick on IR for Irving. So, yes. Yes. I think the Cowboys are going to put Travis Frederick on short-term IR, and that's going to open up a roster spot for David Irving. I believe they have to make that decision by today at some point. So, but yeah, I really have no clue why they didn't put him on short-term IR to start the season, but they didn't. And look, there's no timetable for Frederick's return. I'd be surprised if he played this year. Perhaps if they make the playoffs, he'd be back for the playoffs. But again, I just don't think he's going to play this year. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be a problem at some point this year. But Looney has played so well that it's become much less of a problem. But obviously, you're thinking about what he's going through and how debilitating it is, on and on and on. But yeah, I think the Cowboys will cut or not cut. They will put Travis Frederick on the short-term IR, which means he could still come back, which opens up that roster spot for David Irving. As far as T. Will, I guess first and foremost, I'm surprised people, I've never heard of so much interest in a guy that has basically done nothing. He's been in the field for 21 snaps. So I don't know why people are like, where's Terrence Williams? We've heard from some people he's trying to get over a foot injury. We've heard from other people there's a suspension coming down. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Nothing is ever easy with the Dallas Cowboys in their organization. Ever. Ever. Nothing is ever easy. So the truth behind Terrence Williams, I don't know. But he's out of favor. Certainly with the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, who has such a major influence on the offense. And, that's it. He's out of favor with Linehan. He wasn't getting any snaps or barely any snaps. And, so whether it's an injury, whether it's just out of favor with Linehan, or whether it's an incoming suspension, I wouldn't expect to see him much, if at all. And that's probably as long as Scott Linehan's basically running the offense. Cody Miller says, nobody talks about my boy Beasley and the sauce he poured in the Lions last week. How does he stack up at this game? Is he a factor? Absolutely. If you'd like, I could play the highlights again for you from last week. But yeah, Beasley should have a big game this week. Especially because if you look at the soft coverage again, this is a game made for a guy like Beasley. Where, you throw a little bit of these intermediate routes, and now Beasley, with his, ability to cut in these short areas and get upfield, Cole Beasley, he's my guy. If I have him in fantasy, which most people probably don't, if there's a week to start a Cowboys receiver, this is the week, and Beasley's the guy. A lot of hot sauce this week for Mr. Cole Beasley. Sean Moore says, Frederick isn't coming back this year and probably shouldn't. Agreed. Cody Arnold says, got to get back to work. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and go Cowboys. Agreed, buddy. Thank you. Sean Moore says, Looney's making a big push to be put somewhere starting on this line when Frederick comes back. Look, they're not going to replace Connor Williams. I think Williams has played well. I know some people are like, the problem is he's probably played well in about 85% of the offensive snaps, but it's those 15 that have really stood out. But at the end of the day, they're trying to develop him, so they're not gonna move Fred. The only issue they have is with La'el Collins at right tackle. And Looney's not exactly a right tackle, so Looney's played very, very well. I don't know what they're gonna do with when Frederick comes back, but my guess is it'll be next season, and at that point there will be a lot of changes potentially. Chris Bennett says, will Swaim have another good day? Yeah, he might be a good tight end play. Because, again, the Texans' pass defense is terrible. I can play the highlights for you all again. Neil Favre says, D-Will is still recovering from that face plant over the summer while on that scooter. And Melissa Toney. Hey, Melissa, how are you? She gives me the perfect transition into my next topic, which is, will the Cowboys bring back Dez Bryant? Well, here is Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan this morning on Dez Bryant.
We've got to look at what we're all having to deal with, and that is what's in the best interest of the team. And so that's a different story there. we feel good about Dez and wish him the very best. Trust me, if it were in our best interest, his and ours, and the teams, then he would be on the field for the Cowboys.
How about if you had the only vote? Would he be on the Cowboys?
I don't. I agree with where we are and his status right now. I agree with that.
If it were in our best interest, then he would be back on the field for the Cowboys. That was Jerry Jones earlier today on the G-Bag Nation on 105.3 The Fan. The voice you heard that wasn't Jerry's was the great Gavin Dawson. Salute to the General. Gavin Dawson, my cohort over at 105 through The Fan. But there you have it. I introduced a conspiracy theory that maybe Jerry had told Dez, hey, hold out. If there's a good deal that comes across your table, then sign it. But if this offense continues to sputter, then I'd like to lobby for you to come back. That was my conspiracy theory. It was literally the only thing that made sense when it came to Dez Bryant tweeting about the fact that he wanted to be back with the Cowboys, because he was cut by them. When you're cut by a team, traditionally that team doesn't bring you back then that season. Traditionally. When you're cut by a team, it's like, yeah, we don't want you. That's what being cut means. So for him to then tweet, hey, I'd still like to play for the Cowboys, it's like, okay, so would I. I'd like to play for the Cowboys too, but that's not going to happen. And, I mean, Dez is obviously a better wide receiver than I could ever be, but that's, like, they cut him. We're not here to argue about whether or not it was the right move. It's just simply the move they made. And so therefore, for him to say, I'd like to be back with the Cowboys, makes no sense. Unless Jerry says to him, hey, hold out. I still want to see if we can get you to come back. So if this offense continues to play poorly, I'm going to lobby for you to come back. Now, if that did happen, this was the wrong week for Dez to say that he wanted to play with the Cowboys. Because this was the 1 week so far this year where the Cowboys have proven what they said they were going to be and do all offseason, which was be multiple, not be overly reliant upon one X receiver, not needing an X receiver, have guys in interchangeable pieces, run all different kinds of routes. We didn't see that through 3 of the first 4 weeks. We saw it in week 4, though. And that's why this was the wrong week for Dez to be like, yeah, I'd like to play for the Cowboys again. Well, I mean, Dez, every other week for the first 3 weeks of the season, that would have been right, but not last week. And maybe that's why Jerry was like, yeah, we're done with him. And again, if you missed it, here is Jerry Jones earlier today on 105 through The Fan on the status of Dez Bryant and the Dallas Cowboys.
We've got to look at what we're all having to deal with, and that is what's in the best interest of the team. And so that's a different story there. We feel good about Dez and wish him the very best. Trust me, if it were in our best interest, his and ours, and the teams, then he would be on the field for the Cowboys.
How about if you had the only vote? Would he be on the Cowboys?
I don't. I agree with where we are and his status right now. I agree with that.
There you have it. Checking out some of the comments on the Dallas Cowboys America's Team page. Steve Easton says maybe Rico gets his first touchdown with the Texans' horrible pass defense. Perhaps. Patrick Prescott, ever the Dak Prescott fan, says if we had a quarterback other than Dak, Dez would be on this roster, but you don't. Steve Easton says, so having an X receiver isn't in their best interest. That's what the Cowboys said. That's what the Cowboys said this entire offseason. They don't want a true X. And 3 weeks in, I was like, yeah, you do. But last week, they proved that they don't need one. At least last week, it showed what they were trying to do and that they didn't really legitimately need one. Like, I still think, you need a number 1 X. That's what I think. But what they did was they run Tavon Austin or other type slot receivers out to the X spot and then run them in motion, a lot of pre-snap motion, that kind of stuff. So they felt like they couldn't do that with Dez. And even if you were holding on hope that they'd bring him back because Dez says he wants to be back here. I mean, Dez always wanted to be here. He didn't want to be cut. But it looks like it's over for him with the Dallas Cowboys, which it should have already looked like that because he was cut by the team. And traditionally, you don't go back to the team that cut you. Lori Morales in the house. Hey, y'all. What's up, Ari? Lori, how are you? So now I'm asking you, thumbs up if bad move, bring back Dez, or give me the heart emoji if it's yes, I'm happy that Dez is gone. The story is over. Lori Morales says, I disagree. We need one. I just don't think it's Dez. Agreed. I agree with you there. I mean, I just think 838 yards and 6 touchdowns is good and probably better than most receivers for this team this year, unless it's Zeke Elliott, as producer Gary Likens pointed out. But, there were other components to this that led to this. And I'm not talking about the sideline antics, which a lot of people will bring up. But I agree. They need a legitimate number one wideout. That's no question they do. They're going to have to improve their wide receiver position going into next year. And maybe the answer is Michael Gallup. We can't look at what a rookie third-round pick is doing in his rookie year as a receiver and think that that's his ceiling. Like, this is the starting point for Gallup. I mean, I brought this up in the stream multiple weeks. The last 1,000-yard receiver that was a rookie was 3 years ago. And it was Amari Cooper, who was the 15th, a top 10, top 15 pick, whatever it was. So to expect that Gallup is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver as a third-round pick, it's not right. The fact that Gallup's producing, he's inconsistent, but you expect that from rookie wideouts. And I don't know if Gallup's going to be number one. I'm simply saying we don't have enough information on how he's played this year to know if he could be. Patrick Prescott says, LOL, sorry, Ari, can't stop the hate for Dak. 150 a game will do that to a guy. True. Warren Merle says, too much water under the bridge for Dez to come back. That's also there, too. All right, on the Phantom page, Jason Wright gives me the heart emoji. Melissa Tony says, shout out to the Baracho Tailgaters. Shout out, Melissa Tony, to the Baracho Tailgaters. Tim Garcia says, I would say if the wide receiver doesn't show up this weekend, someone else needs to be cut to make room for Dez. It's not going to happen. Sean Moore says, Jerry's just going all in with Steven and Linehan unless this thing gets headed back in the wrong direction. I agree with you there, actually. Sean Moore says, honestly, if Dez comes back, it makes this team's leadership look dumb and fractured. Agreed. Jason Wright says, sorry, late lunch, but I'm here. What's up, Ari? What's up, Jason? How are you, brother? Jason's also happy that this thing is over. Let's see here. Then we haven't seen what Cedric Wilson can be. He's a slot guy. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that happened with Cedric Wilson this year ended up becoming perfect because I don't know if he was going to make this team because of the numbers they had at that position. So it's like gives him a redshirt year. But yeah, I mean, Cedric could be good, but he's a slot guy. Sean Moore says, I think Gallup's the next slot guy when Bees has moved on in free agency, maybe. Dakota Stiegel says Gallup would be a good slot. Okay. So now Sean Moore and Dakota Stiegel are all on the Cole Beasley as a slot receiver. Rather, Michael Gallup as a slot receiver. All right, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. Broadcasting live across the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. By the way, if you're watching this, thank you. I'm Ari Temkin. You can catch me as part of the Dallas Cowboys pregame show and postgame show on the great 105.3 The Fan, the station that you just heard Jerry Jones on. We start at 4 o'clock on Sunday, so make sure to make plans to listen to myself and Jesse Holly. Of course, I stream every day right here at 12 o'clock on Phantom. Phantom is the new world order of sports media. We are at the center of the Dallas sports conversation with you. It's the most interactive Cowboys show out there. So we built this show to engage, interact, and discuss Cowboys topics with you Cowboys fans. So happy to do that, but the only way to do that is by hitting the share button, posting your comments, and all that good stuff. And I will say, we're growing the show timers of the Areolas every single day. It seems like people check out the show and they come back time and time again. Jason Wright, Dakota Stiegel, Neil Favre, Lori Morales. Love you guys. You guys make this show what it is. The most interactive show on the Dallas Cowboys that you could find. So again, whether you want to be called Showtimers or Areolas, as some have taken to be called, it's fine by me. But if you check this thing out, make sure to come back every single day at 12 o'clock. Let's see here. Raymond Flores on the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page says Cole Beasley will have a big game. And Sun Leak says Cowboys will win. All right. Cool stuff there. One of our partners, the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. I'm trying to get across to all of the Cowboys pages. Dallas Cowboys Report. Salute. Let's see here. More comments coming in over there. JT Rowell says, I'm so happy Irving is back to help get more sacks for us and hopefully strip sacks because he had a few. Darius Hawkins says Lawrence get many sacks this game. Big key. Darius Hawkins also says Zeke is the answer. Pound the rock. Let's see here on the Phantom page. Dakota Stiegel says, how do I get the sharer thing above my name? I share it every day and still don't have it. I don't know, man. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes I'll share streams and it will say it, and sometimes it won't. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Dakota Stiegel. You're the man. And thank you for sharing this every day. If I could help you get the sharer tag above your name, I would. I don't know what to tell you. But it is weird how it does it with some, but not all. And I know other people are sharing it and not getting that tag. So my apologies if that's the case. It's not on me. Jason Wright wants to know my prediction. So I already said earlier that I think the Cowboys are going to win. I think the Cowboys are going to win because of the Texans' horrible secondary and their horrible pass defense. But I also think this Cowboys defense is going to give up points. So my prediction in this game is going to be 30-24. Cowboys win 30-24. That's my prediction for this game. Cowboys 30, Texans 24. Which the Texans are averaging 24 points a game. The Cowboys have given up 24 points in 2 consecutive weeks. So 24 seems like the right number for the Texans, and 30 seems like the right number for the Cowboys for some reason. But I think this will be their biggest offensive output because this is a game conducive to that. It's based on 2 things. One, their defense, or rather the Cowboys offense played as well as we've seen it play all year last week. So going into this game, Cowboys offense is on a little bit of a roll, and against this pretty easy pass defense, they should be in good shape. I'm Ari Temkin. This is Showtime. A reminder that on Sunday, if you're in the DFW area, go watch the game, Sunday Night Football, at Henry's Tavern in Plano. And when you go to the Phantom page and make sure to click the link, you are going to get a free appetizer when you dine in during the game at Henry's, which you can see there. Boom, right there. So, all right. Fun with graphics. So yeah, if you're in the DFW area, make plans to hang out with Walt Chisholm and Dalton Miller as they broadcast live during the game from Henry's Tavern in Plano. Should be a lot of fun. If you've got a chance to be out there, I would encourage you to do so. And again, you go out there, you click on the coupon code through Phantom, and you're going to get a free appetizer when you dine in at Henry's Tavern in Plano off of Legacy. All right, let's see here. Go back over here. Just take a good look at this Texans pass defense, which is atrocious. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll give you my inspirational story of the day, which I'm going to do every single day now. Chris Bennett says, who has more sacks, Dallas or Houston? Only one team in the NFL has more sacks than the Dallas Cowboys. That would be the Bears. The Dallas Cowboys are second in the league in sacks at 14. Kerry Teagle says, you say Wilson at 6'3" is a slot guy. I do. Wasn't that what he was at Boise? He's a speedster. But, I mean, I could be wrong, Kerry. Melissa Tony says Cowboys win. Dakota Stiegel says makes me feel VIP, LOL. You're VIP, man. You are an Areola. You're a Showtimer. That's VIP. I always share. I'm a sharer. It also never says it over Chris Bennett's name. It's weird. Sean Moore says our defense needs to get off the no turnover schneid. Yeah, man, that's incredible. They're the only team in the NFL without an interception. By the way, Deshaun Watson has averaging 1 pick per game so far this year, so this is the game it's going to happen, right? Ryan England says that's the exact score I predicted in my comment earlier with Tavon going for 125 at a touchdown. We shall see. Did you predict 30-24? I just am always reluctant to go with those big touchdown numbers because I know how much Jason Garrett loves his field goals. So I always try to load up on the field goal score numbers. Eric Koshani says, I've got the Cowboys losing this game by 10. Eric, I implore you to look at this defense. Look at all these yards this defense is giving up. Third down conversions galore. Neil Favre predicts 28-23 Dallas. Sean Moore says they need to grab a couple. The pressure is certainly there. Agreed. Let's see here. Eric says, I see Dak getting his ass kicked all night on Sunday. Adam Mancuta's in the house. Adam predicted the Texans would win this game. Perhaps he hasn't really watched the Texans secondary, which is, again, atrocious. I'll remind you, this is Andrew Luck against them last week, but Blaine Gabbert put up 200 yards passing against this Texans secondary. It's horrible. And they, again, look at all the cushion that they give guys. They're afraid to be beat, so they just give guys all kinds of open space. And so they're just going to find consistently open receivers. Ninja Nuts says Byron has always been knocking the ball down over catching it. Hopefully Cheeto can snag one and make these quarterbacks rethink challenging him. Yeah. Eric Koscielny says, why doesn't Tank ever try to strip the ball? He needs to use his head. I think he does. He's just probably, you're trying to get the sack first and foremost. A strip sack is nice, but, Lori Morales is shared. Thank you, Lori. Also says, hey, Monty. Hey, Monty. I don't know who you are, but nice to meet you, Monty. All right, so what else do you think? Kind of closing on the end of this show. But again, I'm predicting the Cowboys to win this week. Again, I'm 3-1 picking Cowboys games this year. I just think with what we saw with their offense last week, they can build on that success going into this week. Certainly, I worry about Clowney and Watt at the pass rush, but even if they get after Dak, there's just so many open receivers. Look at this. 3rd and 10, they throw short of the sticks, still get it by 3 yards to their running back. By the way, the Cowboys running back also wears number 21 and also is a really good receiver. So I just think this Texans secondary is the most glaring hole, and the Cowboys can exploit that. And they can exploit it through Zeke Elliott. They can exploit it through Cole Beasley and some of these short to intermediate routes that they'll be able to run. All right, so what else do you think? Adam Mancuda says, I would be worried about Ryan Grant, Chester Rogers, and Eric Ebron too. Yeah. And again, even if you go with that's Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck's better than Dak Prescott defense, Blaine Gabbert put up 200-plus passing yards to them. Blaine Gabbert. Rock Chalk. Blaine Gabbert went to Mizzou. Hopefully Eric Koscielny from Joplin, Missouri is not a Mizzou fan. 5.5 sacks is an impressive number, but I'd be more impressed with strips. Sacks have lost their allure this season. Eric Koscielny. I should tell Tank that. Hey, Tank, I know you're like number 1 in the NFL in sacks at 5.5, but what's with the lack of strip sacks? Is it asking too much to sack a quarterback and take the ball away? I'm not very impressed with him. Chris Bennett says TJ and Jena in a few hours. Yes, that's going to be fun. Melissa Tony says, thanks, Ari. I'll be tuning in. Thank you. Again, shout out to the Baracho Tailgaters. Jason Wright says 31-17 Dallas. Eric Koscielny says, go Rockies. Nope, not a Mizzou fan. Absolutely go Rockies. Make sure to check out the Colorado Rockies watch party during their playoff game. Rockies starts in a couple of hours here. It'll be right here on Phantom with TJ Carpenter and Jena Garcia, which will be a lot of fun. Lori Morales says, excited to see what we do with Zeke on Sunday. Adrian Ross says, enjoyed it, Ari. Have a blessed day, bro. Same time tomorrow. Monday. Same time Monday. But I'll see you here, Adrian. And, of course, make sure to like the Phantom page if you don't already. Go to facebook.com/watchphantom. And if you're a YouTuber, you like YouTube, search Watch Phantom at YouTube and make sure to subscribe to the page. We've got great content all the time. All right. It seems like it's about that time for me to hit up my inspirational story of the day. There's a lot of shitty people in the world. So I've decided to fight back against shittiness and give you an inspirational story every single day. These are real people doing inspirational things every single day. A little segment I've decided to call the inspirational story of the day. It's very, very creative. And my inspirational story for today is about this gentleman pictured right here who was struck by lightning as a kid and still went on to have an amazing life. This is Idaho Army National Guard Captain A.J. Edwards. Okay, so this is A.J. Edwards, who was struck by lightning playing football when he was 12 years old, 20 years ago. And doctors, after he was struck by lightning, told him that he probably wasn't going to live, and that if he did live, he probably wouldn't be able to walk again. So in September of 1998, when AJ was 12 years old, he was out playing football and got struck by lightning, which the odds of being struck by lightning in the United States of America is 1 out of 14,600. So he was struck by lightning, and he was living in Idaho. So because of the storms that were in the area, they couldn't airlift him to a hospital, so he had to be driven by ambulance to a hospital. He was resuscitated, by the way, on the scene, driven to a hospital. Doctors told his parents that he probably wouldn't survive, and if he did, that his legs were so badly burned he'd never be able to walk again. And what happened? Not only did he survive, pictured here, but he walked again. In fact, he ran. It took 2 years after the incident for him to make a complete recovery. He spent the next couple of months in the hospital. Months of physical therapy followed. The strike left burn marks throughout his body and ruptured an eardrum. He had to learn to walk again. He said while in the hospital, he was able to feel electricity running through his body and said it was the most intense pain he's ever experienced. I would imagine that. Still feels occasional spasms today, but they're much milder. He said he ran on his school's track team that next spring. So he was struck by lightning at 12, was told he would probably not live, and if he did, he wouldn't be able to walk again. Well, he decided to run for his high school track team after the 2 years of rehab when he got into high school. And then... And by the way, here's the quote from his mom. This is, talk about inspirational. Quote, "It took him so much effort to get around the track for the first time. It was nothing but sheer determination. That's how he treated his recovery. I've always admired his determination. Once he sets his mind to something, he doesn't quit." His mom says that he got lapped several times during that first race, and the crowd gave him a standing ovation when he was done. A year later, AJ ran a marathon. And then he enlisted in the Idaho Army National Guard in February of 2010, and he's still enlisted after studying recreational management at BYU, Idaho, and being part of the school's ROTC program. What an amazing, amazing story for AJ Edwards, who, seen here, was struck by lightning at 12 years old, playing football. Doctors said that he probably wouldn't live, and if he did, he'd never walk again because the burns would be so bad. Not only did he live, he went on to walk again, joined the high school track team, ran a marathon, enlisted in the Idaho Army National Guard. When life hands you lemons, paint that shit gold. Wow. How about an inspirational story of the day, huh? Perhaps the most inspirational of inspirational stories. And what to me is most inspirational is sometimes we hear stories like this and we think, oh my God, I hope if I were given the same circumstance in life, I would also do that. I would also persevere. And this is what's inspirational about it. You would. You would. Because what other choice do you have? If you are in a situation where doctors are saying you're not going to be able to ever do this thing again, then you would then... It's human nature to have the determination to do it. Now, not everybody would, but the fight and the determination to try to do it, that is what sets us apart as human beings. Especially when we're told that we're not going to be able to do something. We work and try to accomplish it because what other choices do we have in life? So AJ Edwards, an amazing person, an unbelievable inspirational story, incredible. Incredible story. Lori Morales says, shout out to AJ and all our military. So much respect for them. Daughter of a Marine. Hoorah! That's awesome. And thank you, Lori, for your service and your daughter's service as well. Agreed. Entirely. Agree with you wholeheartedly. And I mean, this is a guy that's in the National Guard in Idaho. And again, doctors told him he'd never walk again. So it's amazing to think he went through all of that and now he's giving up his life for service. Incredible story. So again, thank you all for being a part of this show each and every single day. This show doesn't exist without you. It does not exist without you Showtimers and or Areolas, whichever you prefer. Lori Morales, Ryan England, Adrian Ross, Steve Eason, Warren Merle, Keith Price, Keith Stone, Patrick Prescott, Neil Favre, Kerry Teagle, Chris Bennett, Eric Kashani, Jason Wright, Neil Favre, Sean Moore, Kerry Teagle, shout out to all you. Enjoy the game Sunday. Make sure if you are available and able to, check out the pre- and post-game show across the Dallas Cowboys radio network. We're live starting at 4 o'clock, and then, of course, the post-game show to follow. But that's it for now. I'm out. Peace.